All right. Welcome, everyone. We are returning from recess. Sorry, I never use this, but hey, that works. So we are returning from recess to the regular council meeting of the municipality of Tantramar, Monday, September 8th, 2025. I'd like to acknowledge that we are located within the territory of Mi'kma'ki, the unceded ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Just before we get to a note on the agenda, is there any conflict of interest declaration from staff or council for the agenda as presented? Seeing none, okay. Just before we get into number 5, just to note there's an additional agenda item under reports from administration, section 8H has been added, Willow Lane closure. So we adopted the agenda before we moved into in camera, so I just thought I'd mention that now. And once again, just like our last meeting, just to note that the video that you see will again be the wide shot. We're waiting for a part to fix the system, so this is what you're going to see for now. Okay, moving on to number 5A, public and administrative presentations, NBH Friendly Community Initiative, and I think this is a Zoom call, yeah? Okay, just to test,
yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay,
can,
everyone?
yes.
Great.
And just quickly for housekeeping, just before you begin, we have 3 public presentations. In our bylaw, it's a 5-minute presentation. We will time all 3 of them, but there's always room for questions from council afterwards, so that there may be an opportunity to add more additional information. So with that, Brenda Lee, Community Coordinator, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Black and members of council and invited guests. My name is Brenda Lee. I'm the Community Coordinator for Age-Friendly Active Communities New Brunswick. And thank you for the opportunity to present tonight on the recognition program. I'll admit it's quite a bit of information, but I'm going to do my best to stay within the allotted 5 minutes. So here's my best attempt. So what is an age-friendly community? An age-friendly community is designed to promote health, well-being, and quality of life for older adults, which contributes to the overall well-being of the entire community. It is facilitated by citizens and other stakeholders. It is a grassroots preventative approach that improves life while building a stronger future for tomorrow. Started by the World Health Organization and in collaboration with the Public Health Agency of Canada in 2007, the research and development on age-friendly communities spans over 3 decades. In 2012, the province of New Brunswick launched the New Brunswick Age-Friendly Community Recognition Program, and it's managed today by Social Development. We work in collaboration with the Department of Social Development, and our mission is to create awareness and support communities in achieving and sustaining recognition. Drawing on the decades of research, the World Health Organization has identified 8 key domains or areas that are essential to consider when creating an age-friendly community. The Public Health Agency of Canada and the Government of New Brunswick concur with these findings and endorse these 8 domains. It's looking at the physical environment, the social environment, and the personal well-being of an individual's life. You can get a detailed description. All you have to do, it can be provided. Just let us know. So why and why now? The New Brunswick census identified in 2021 that 23% of the population was 65 years of age or older, with the senior population projected to double by 2040. So there are a wide range of benefits for age-friendly communities, but overall, age-friendly communities are vibrant, inclusive, and resilient communities, providing a better quality of life for all residents. Even simple changes like extra benches, accessible trails, beach mats, improved citizen communication make a big difference in an individual's life. Other things to consider is today there's new research showing isolation can shorten a person's life as much as smoking. Moral and societal obligations, ageism, and elder abuse affects 1 in 10 seniors. Statistics show the majority of citizens want to remain in their homes or at least within their community. There's plenty of reasons for mayor and council to support the age-friendly community initiative. I'll just give a summary that in becoming an age-friendly community, it's a proactive, conscientious, strategic choice. It provides older residents with a platform to express their needs and concerns. It strengthens your economy and improves quality of life for all ages. It'll unlock external resources. The cost for council is minimal, but the benefits are lasting. There are also a variety of reasons for formal provincial recognition, but one thing I did want to highlight is that getting recognized by the province of New Brunswick provides structure, support, and sustainability. There's 5 steps to becoming an age-friendly community. The first one being that the mayor and council have to pass a resolution, then the community will establish an age-friendly committee made up of citizens and other stakeholders with a recommendation to include a member of council or a municipal staff. The rest of the steps are done by the community committee. We provide support throughout the whole process and ongoing, but I did want to highlight that we do provide a $2,500 financial contribution for startup costs. So there's a lot of great work being done in the province today by age-friendly communities. And there's a lot of partnerships created. It's one of the most effective approaches to address issues and embrace opportunities related to the aging demographic trend. On a personal note, I'd just like to add that across New Brunswick and Canada, there's many initiatives to improve the lives of older adults. Still in my travels, I see that talking with seniors in New Brunswick, they're still facing real challenges, facing food insecurity, loneliness, unsafe housing, etc. This is why the initiative is so important, and I have to admit that I was initially skeptical about whether this initiative would work, but after visiting and speaking with AFC committees across the province, I've seen firsthand the real difference they're making. Please consider passing a resolution to become a New Brunswick recognized age-friendly community. You'll be taking the first step forward and opening the door for many important conversations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. That was pretty much spot on 5 minutes. Very, very well done. And thank you
Lots of practicing.
And thank you so much for sending additional information to council. That's really helpful. I just want to say excellent presentation. Thank you so much for that. Former town of Sackville had looked at the age-friendly community initiative when I was on council, but it seemed to have fizzled out. I'm not exactly sure why. But now that we're the municipality of Tantramar, this is certainly something for council to consider. I did want to say I sit on the board of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, and one of the representatives from Zone 2, which is the Southeast region, is Cecile Casista from Riverview. They were just recognized as an age-friendly community, and she has just been hammering this to every community in the Southeast to follow suit, because I think it would be an amazing achievement for all of us to get it here in the Southeast regionally. But anyway, thank you so much for the presentation and the information. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Questions and comments from council? No? Oh, Councillor Finney?
Just want to say, Brenda, thank you very much for coming and presenting like you did. Gives me an idea what you're talking about. Of course, I'll be able to look in more in depth, and then certainly looking forward to probably putting something forward with the rest of council. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm available too in the future if you need me to come down to do a citizen consultation or anything like that. So just reach out anytime. We're here, like I say, to support you through the whole process.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to 5B, Center Village Natural Gas Plant. I think we have 2 presenters. Juliet Bulmer and Terry Jones, is that correct?
Hi, yes, we have 2.
Okay. Oh, maybe not Terry Jones.
We do have 2 speakers, but if it's permitted, I would like to speak on Terry's behalf.
Sure. If you can just let us know who you are when you, I mean, I know who you are, but if you can let us know in the mic, that would be great. And we have a presentation too, yes?
Yes,
We have a
and we
slideshow?
have a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. And do we have the clicker?
If you can just say next slide, if that's all right. We don't have that technology, I guess.
Makes me think of Mary Walsh and the commercial, or the comedy about the clicker, her and her son. Anyway. Okay, so my name's Juliet Boomer. I live in Midgick.
My name is Kristen LeBlanc. I also reside in Midgick, New Brunswick, Ward 4.
So good evening, Mayor Blatt, council members, and fellow residents. And we're giving a presentation on protecting Tantramar, a call for action on the proposed 500 megawatt gas plant. So here I have a 180-page description by the company Pro Energy, as well as a 50-page summary. Most people haven't had a chance to read these. So this gas plant is to be built and operated by an American company, Pro Energy. It's already facing countless lawsuits. With 25-plus year lifespan, I probably won't be here, but our children and grandchildren will be. This proposed 500 megawatt, 10 turbine generator fossil fuel gas plant in Center Village poses serious and destabilizing threats and risks to the environmentally sensitive Chignecto Isthmus and communities. You can turn the slide, please. Thank you. Imagine, if you will, the next 25 years, from 2025 to 2050, 7 million liters of water being drawn from the ground daily, an amount equal to 2.8 Olympic-sized swimming pools, 10 spinning noisy turbines, 3 million gallons of diesel fuel stored and used on site, huge amounts of greenhouse gas emissions, toxic, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and methane. This proposed renewables gas plant, it's not clean and it's not renewable energy. Don't be fooled. There will be threats to our economy, our health, and our way of life, and our local economy. And you will see accumulated climate change against national goals, air pollution causing asthma, increased respiratory illness, and lung disease, especially in the vulnerable populations. Water contamination and a constant daily draw from the aquifer in our wells. Productive farmlands and homesteads at risk. Falling property values and damage to businesses. A peaceful natural community replaced with toxic industry. Loss of ecotourism, which relies on clean air and water, scenic beauty and diversity of flora and fauna. Next slide, please. Risk in industrial accidents with a volunteer fire department 20 minutes away from Center Village. Next slide, please. The Chignecto Isthmus and Tantramar's natural and cultural heritage are central to its identity. It has many national and international designations, including being identified by Parks Canada as one of 23 priority ecological corridor areas across the country, globally even, where ecological connectivity is in urgent need of restoration and conservation. Next slide, please. And next slide. We strongly oppose this project. We want transparency, and we want our voices to be heard, Indigenous and community voices. We want real Indigenous engagement. Letters have been written to MP Dominic LeBlanc, Premier Susan Holt, NB Power, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia government officials, and so many others. And still, there are no clear and supportive responses. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. What long-term strategies in place for drought-resistant water solutions and aquifer monitoring if this plant is built? And does Tantramar even plan to restore water supply to affected residences when this plant sucks the land dry? But the real question remains, are you listening, and what will you do?
So what we are asking from the town of Tantramar specifically is to oppose the gas plant proposal. And doing so by doing the exact same thing that your constituents have done.
We just have two slides.
Our time's up. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Tower,
Thank you.
1 second.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. Anything else? So could you show us those two slides?
If we do have your permission, absolutely.
1 second, just 1 second, we'll bring it back up, hold on.
So these was just directly to the town of Tantramar?
Exactly, and
We're just-
it's a little hard to end on,
We're trying to pull the slide up for you, just.
Okay.
We can talk without a slide. We can talk without a slide.
Was it this?
You go ahead.
After
It was
last
the one previous to.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So I guess it's not very good to end on what what we're asking for and to model what your constituents are currently doing, because you should probably know what they're currently doing. A lot of us, specifically in Ward 4, who have a lot of concern about this, have already began writing the provincial government, the federal government. We have began a federal petition and it's going to be endorsed by Elizabeth May. Unfortunately, we have not heard from our local MPs and surrounding MPs, so we had to go across Canada to be supported by Green. I feel like it's almost like when we're not getting what we want from a coworker, we might need a little bit of force from a boss or a superior. And really, that is what our municipality or municipal council is. We need you guys to draft and form letters, send them in where where it matters. Send them to Susan Holt, send them to Dominic LeBlanc, send them to fellow MPs, send them, to a federal standpoint as well, so they're eventually heard by the Liberal Party. Make sure that there is urgent transparency and proper Indigenous consultation. If you fellow councillors were, of course, at the first few meetings that Pro Energy was present, there was admittedly not proper Indigenous consultation. So make sure, of course, that there is that, and use every single municipal channel that you have to ensure that that does happen. And then there was the next slide, of course. We have our beautiful moose and our pileated woodpecker. Those are, of course, courtesy of Atlantic Wildlife. Two of the species that we do have within the Chignecto Isthmus. Something to mention on the moose is that the Chignecto Isthmus would be the only corridor leading the moose population from Nova Scotia into the rest of North America. So if we have hunters in this room, that would also be a concern to them. So it's not just about a gas plant, it's who we are as the town of Tantramar, and we are urging councillors, the town, to speak up. Now would be the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council. Councillor Tower, you had a follow-up?
Yes, thank you. I want to thank you for your presentation. Your group has brought up a lot of good points, and you gathered a lot of great information. In fact, I read much of it during the presentations that were happening. You make a good point. I personally fully support your idea. I think we should be doing something going forward. It does baffle me that in this day and age of climate change and forest fires like we've had across Canada and the United States too, that we're going to put jet engines into a forest and say it's safe to be there. No, And I do love the idea that we write to Dominic LeBlanc, and I think we should also be writing to Mark Carney. You go to the top because, nice T-shirt, nice T-shirt. In this day and age where we're supposed to be thinking Canadian, and this takes us a long way. It takes us a long way from Canada doing this process. So I think it's a great idea. I hope Council gets behind the initiative and brings it forward because it's important for us to make this now where we know that some false information came out and we know that is now being considered whether to do an in-depth or not. Is the time for us to step forward and make our voice known. I would also like to see us, if we could, to have a meeting with Susan Holt because she has been and she's been a good supporter of the province, and I'm hoping that she can at least come and see what we're talking about and experience it.
We are heading to Legislative Building on October 21st for a peaceful protest. It's the first day that they are back in office.
Okay, thank you. That's it for now.
Sorry?
I'd say that's all for now.
Okay. Councillor Finney?
I just want to say, as a matter of fact, I went to the Midget Baptist Church the very first night and listened to everybody's, their concerns and exactly what was going on. I was asked that night, well, what's your opinion? I told everybody, and they got mad at me. I don't have one yet. I've got to hear the other side. So I went Tuesday to the Music Barn. I went Wednesday to the Civic Center. Then I read reports that were in the paper, work times, and then I finally made a decision. There's too many unknowns, and the knowns that we do know are very concerning to me. This is our municipality. This is our land. We have to be very concerned. Sometimes, and I'm going to say this, provincial and federal governments are not concerned about what happens in municipalities. They're worried about maybe making friends within the businesses and stuff. So I personally will say that I support you 100%. And I will be putting forward letters to these different ministers and different levels of government as well. So thank you, and please, and if you need any more help or whatever, please reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do to help you. Thank you.
I'm not sure who was first. You pointed at each other. Councillor Gauguin.
Thank you for the presentation. So I'm going to admit that, like many of you guys, I actually found this out on Facebook. It was interesting that the provincial or federal government didn't even bother to tell us that this was coming in our area. And for the longest time, they were going to put it in Skidooc. What happened in Skidooc? Nobody knows.
No, we do know.
Okay.
We know.
Well, I don't know, so maybe you guys can enlighten me after. So at first, when I first heard about this, I'm like, yes, you know, this is extra income to our municipality and it'll bring in tax dollars. But then the more and more I'm reading about it, it just does not make sense, and it does not make sense to be out there because the roads aren't sufficient for what, like, we've all done the Midget Run and it's horrible. And I can't imagine. Oh. Fire. All right. So I can't imagine once especially the amount of water that they want to pull out, and then they're like, I was reading reports about like even the Piccadilly mine and stuff like that today. So I agree with Councillor Tower and Councillor Finney that, you know, this is definitely not needed in our area, and I totally support you guys, and I'll sign whatever needs to get signed.
Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I also support you. Julie has reiterated, we don't know a lot about Pro Energy coming in, and for them to be bankrupt, this I did not know. And as my other fellow councillors had mentioned, that we don't know a lot about this. So there has to be a lot more research go into this and to find the proper things. Yes, we do need energy, but we have to do it the right way. So thank you for your presentation.
Sorry, just writing notes down. Last questions or comments? I'm sorry?
We ask for our board's representatives support.
He can speak if he wishes to, but that's up to him to push his mic. So like, I'm not going to make somebody say something, but yeah. Yeah, and so just so that the public is aware, the way that this would work, if council was willing to bring forward a motion, a councillor was willing, it would fall under notice of motion. So a councillor would make a notice of motion to make a motion. I know it sounds clunky, but that would happen at a regular council meeting so that staff would have an opportunity to also do a little bit of research or digging. And then that motion would then be read at the next regular council meeting, where council would then have an opportunity to discuss and debate that motion. So just so you're aware of how that works. Yeah. Councillor Finney?
Are we able to do that motion tonight, put it forward tonight?
What, on our agenda, the notice of motion is at the end. Oh, sorry, am I on? Yeah. At the end of our agenda, notice of motion is on the
Thank you,
agenda.
Your Worship.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Councillor Tower?
Just for clarity, is it not a possibility that the motion still could be made at this time because of a desire to make the motion? I know that we have where you put the notice of motion on, but we've also made motions in council during that same meeting. So
I mean, our procedural bylaw lays out the way that those motions are made. Robert's Rules of Order, a councillor could make a motion at any time. Typically, we try to stick to the process so that it is clear-cut and fair. But, I mean, I guess I would look to Ms. Goodwin to talk about what that would look like, but typically, we try to stick to that so that there's precedent, which is what we've done generally in the past. I can't remember the last time we made a motion on the fly,
just not too long ago.
but,
Streetlights.
oh, the streetlights, yes, right. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess the other piece of it is if you make a motion tonight, there's not the opportunity in this case for staff, for example, to collect some information if that's what council was looking for. So maybe if a motion was made, then that could be included in there, rather than make a decision right away. I'm just saying that it, might not be the proper time to do it, but Ms. Goodwin, did you want to talk about what that would look like? Okay. Councillor Finney.
The reason I was thinking about making it tonight is because of the fact we can't wait a month because there's too many things going on behind the scenes with these companies, and they haven't been up front. And so therefore, we need to jump on the bandwagon now, like I would say, as a matter of fact, in order to get it done.
Councillor Butcher?
Thank you. Could we make the notice of motion tonight and have the motion come forward at the next council meeting this month?
It would come up at the regular council meeting.
So we couldn't do it.
In October.
It wouldn't be
That's-
till
yeah, It would be
October.
at the beginning of October, so it would be less than a month away.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're just, this is our business meeting, so if you can just keep the comments down, that would be helpful, thanks. Councillor Tower?
Thank you. My concern is that the EUB is considering whether a certain procedure is required or not. And if we maintain a silent voice, waiting an extra month before it will actually come forward to hit the people that need to know, that I think that we should be making a motion tonight, which I'm more than willing to make that motion.
So, just some quick conversation. We could make a notice of motion tonight, and that notice of motion would then, we could make it appear at, for example, our budget meeting on the 23rd of September. So we could make the notice of motion, there'd be some opportunity for collection of data, additional conversations, and then we would be able to have that motion hit the floor at our budget meeting on September 23rd. And then council would be able to have an opportunity to debate and discuss.
Okay. Okay.
Just to put it out there, that way we still kind of are following our procedure and organization of council bylaw, not to a T, but we'd still have some opportunity in there for research.
Yeah, so maybe we could also maybe look at the policy and procedures so that we get closer to Robert's rules to allow a councillor to step forward at certain times to make those motions.
It's on the list of bylaws to be
Yes.
reviewed.
Well, I know, but that was said at the very first year we were elected, so I think it should be put
Right.
more in the front
And
burner.
just the procedure and organization of council bylaw was imposed on us by the province initially. We decided that we would let it ride to try it out. Council admitted
Yep,
at that
I
time
understand
that bylaw was not exactly what we wanted, but we would try it out. So it is under review, and it's on the list for the clerk's office to take a look at that bylaw. It'll come to council, there'll be some,
That
some
part I know for
potential
sure. Yep.
changes and,
Yep.
so,
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right, okay, that's where we are, okay. Perfect. Moving on to 5C, Seniors for Climate Tantramar Climate Corner, Meredith Fisher, yes, okay.
Good evening. My name is Meredith Fisher. Hi. Everybody here okay?
I was just reading your shirt.
Okay. Oh, yes, there. Just in case there was, there over in this side. I'm here tonight as a member of the Seniors for Climate Tantramar. And I'm inviting you as our elected representatives to join us at a new part of this year's fall fair. It's hard to believe that 23 years ago we started the fall fair, the Sackville Fall Fair, and it has always been the one event of the year that brings us all together, all ages, as a community to celebrate living in this wonderful place, in this amazing part of the world. We are so lucky here. As Seniors for Climate Tantramar, we're a member of a national organization. We believe it is our responsibility to stress the pressing need to preserve a healthy environment and safe environment for us and our future generations. This summer was a prime example of the damaging effects that the heating of our environment creates in so many ways. You can just ask any farmer, any local farmer at the farmer's market. You can ask the Sackville Golf Club groundskeeper. You can ask any firefighters, the forest firefighters. You can ask a fisherman. It's been a summer that none of us have ever known before here. So hot, so much drought. So, Saturday, this September the 20th, is a national and international day of action to address the climate crisis that our planet is experiencing, and this is serious. There is no question that the extraction and the burning of fossil fuels is the main contributor to releasing greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. This is directly related to the heating of our planet. There is no question that our government needs to stop subsidizing this industry and needs to develop renewable energy sources. Projects like the NB gas plant in Center Village that will be burning fossil fuels and releasing GHGs have no place in Tantramar, a place that respects and preserves a healthy environment for our future generations. So our small Seniors for Climate Tantramar has joined together with other Seniors for Climate chapters in New Brunswick. And we're gathering on Saturday, the 20th of September, as part of the Family Day activities on Dufferin Street from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. to be the Climate Corner. And we would love it if you could join us to learn more about climate change, to ask us questions, visit maybe the booths and the activities and displays that we're having for people of all ages, kids and everybody, grandparents and all in between. You can even write a postcard to federal or provincial politicians expressing in your own words the action you would encourage them to take regarding climate change. And we will even post it for you. Our partner organizations coming to help us with activities and information to give include the Conservation Council of New Brunswick from Fredericton, the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, the New Brunswick chapter, United Spirit Nature Network, which sounds really interesting, the New Brunswick Anti-Shale Gas Alliance, the Coalition for Responsible Energy Development in New Brunswick from Woodstock, they're coming, Maritimes Against Climate Change coming from Moncton, and Climate Atlantic from Halifax. And we hear tonight the Atlantic Wildlife Institute is coming too with us. Thank you. Maybe you will also see us in the parade with our banner, Seniors for Climate, and with people of all ages riding their bikes. So we hope you'll come and see us and visit us and be part of what we're doing and ask us lots of questions and send your postcards and we'll mail them for you. Thank you.
I was going to say, don't walk away just in case there are any questions, then you'll have to walk back up. But thank you very much for the presentation. You said, once again, on the Saturday from 10 to 2 at the Dufferin, 10 till 5, I'm sorry. 10 till 5 at the Dufferin Street Field as part of Family Day. Okay. Okay.
Yes, we have,
Yep,
thanks
go
to
to
Matt
just-
Pride and Jessica, sorry.
Just go to the mic if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd just like to thank Matt Pride and Jessica for helping us organize this. It's been very helpful and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments from council? Councilor Tower?
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. I love the idea. I'll have to apologize and send my regrets. I won't be here on the 20th. But if I was here, I would be there to help gain information and support. So thank you.
We'll look for you in spirit, Michael. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, Councilor Finney.
I'm not going to be able to make it either because we have a meeting on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, do we not?
We have a Zone 2 meeting. We have a Zone 2 meeting in Memram Cook. Yeah, the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick Zone 2 meeting in Memram Cook that day.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. So may be able to get back in time. We'll see. So, well, I'll miss you.
Well, if not, we'll see you in spirit too, Percy.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to number 6, adoption of minutes, 6A, regular council meeting, July 8th, 2025. So there is one motion to approve the minutes. There's one motion for that one. One motion to approve those minutes, if a counselor would be willing to read those. I'm not sure. Counselor Martin?
I move that council adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of July the 8th, 2025, as circulated.
Moved by Counselor Martin, seconded by Counselor Hicks. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 6B, special meeting of council, July 28th, 2025. Again, there's a motion there. Counselor Butcher?
I move that council adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council of July 28th, 2025, as circulated.
Moved by Counselor Butcher, seconded by Counselor Gauguin. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 6C, Committee of the Whole meeting, August 25th, 2025. Counselor Wiggins-Caldwell?
Thank you, Mayor Black. I move that council adopt the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of August 25th, 2025, as circulated.
Moved by Counselor Wiggins-Caldwell, seconded by Counselor Finney. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 7, consent agenda. And just as a refresher, the consent agenda, these motions were all moved from our Committee of the Whole to the consent agenda. So just to remind council, if there was something in here that needed to be pulled out, it would be pulled out and put into reports from administration so that we could deal with that motion specifically. I say that because we pass all of these at the same time as a consent. There's no debate, no conversation in the consent agenda approval process as laid out in the Procedure and Organization of Council bylaw. So if you vote nay against the consent agenda, you go vote nay for every motion that's in there, if that makes sense. Just a refresher, I just wanted to put that out there again, and maybe for the public as well. Councillor Gauguin.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I would like to have RFD 2025-71 easement for Weldon Street trunk sewer pulled out if possible, just for additional commenting.
So that is going to move to 8I. And that is 2025, okay. 2025-71. Okay, so that moves to reports from administration 8I, okay? Okay. All right, okay, so there is a motion to approve the consent agenda. The councillor would be willing to read that? No? Councillor Butcher?
I move that council approve the consent agenda of September 8th, 2025.
Moved by Councillor Butcher, seconded by Councillor Hicks. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving to reports from administration, 8A, Bayview Estates subdivision. We do have a motion in the motion sheet for that. If councillor would be willing to read that motion. Councillor Finney.
Whereas council accepts the recommendation of the Southeast Planning Review and Adjustment that the proposed streets are situated in a suitable location and the proposed street names Shepherd Lane and Basin View Drive are acceptable public street names. Whereas the developers have requested to provide cash in lieu of land for public purposes and as per the subdivision bylaw in the amount of 8% of the market value of land in the subdivision. Be it resolved that the Council of Tantramar approves Shepherd Lane and Basin View Drive as new public street names. That council accepts the cash in lieu value in the amount of $39,949 and council assents to the location of Shepherd Lane and Basin View Drive and directs staff to prepare and execute the subdividers agreement between the municipality of Tantramar and Salem Properties Incorporated for the construction of streets and public infrastructure.
Moved by Councillor Finney, seconded by Councillor Tower. Questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Tower.
Thank you, Mayor. I just think this is another fantastic project happening in Tantramar, and it's only going to help with the housing problem. It's only a small step, but it's a big step forward at the same time, so I fully support this.
Okay, well said. Councillor Gauguin.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I echo Councillor Towers' comments. It's a great project. We need the housing. My only concern is the value that was assigned to this this cash-in year. I feel like it might be a bit too much, considering that the developer has to put in all the infrastructure, the streets, and all this extra stuff, and we're going to be generating tax revenue from that for years. I can support the first two, but the amount, I'm sorry, I can't support it.
Councilor Wiggins-Caldwell?
Thank you, Mayor Black. I also agree with Councillor Gauguin. We much needed housing, and if the cost is going to be surplus, what they have to put in, I stand beside the first two. I agree. The second, I think the cost is.
But just to note, like, it's all one motion. I know it's whereas and be it resolved, but it's all one motion, just to remind. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. Sorry, Councilor Tower, did you? Yep.
The dollar value put on here is part of the procedure used when you're going to do developing. So it's not something that we chose as we've got to have all this money. It's calculations that were made and negotiated with. And if Ms. Bickford wants to comment on that part of it, but my understanding is it is all part of the procedure and it's been brought forward properly. Nothing else has been added. So.
Did you want to respond, Ms. Bickford?
Council's wishes. I would just say that everything that is included within that motion is a requirement under your subdivision bylaw, and it is as per the subdivision bylaw. So those are the same standards that would be held to every developer that should do a Class 2 subdivision or a subdivision that involves new public roads.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we had a mover, seconder. So all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So, nay from Councilor Gauguin, Councilor Wiggins-Caldwell, and Councilor Finney? Yeah? Okay, motion carried. 8B, cross culverts. Mr. Eppel?
Thank you, Mayor. As part of the capital budget, we had inserted some funds to do some cross culverts that are of a larger nature. And we made the applications for watercourse and wetland alteration permits, WAWA permits, earlier this year. We received those in midsummer for 8 culverts. We did not intend to do all 8 this year, but we're hoping to get most of them done. One has been completed on King Street, and there are another 7 that are listed in the report. We've picked the 3 that we think are most important for us to do, and we've gone out and got pricing from a contractor to do the install on those. We have a budget available of about $140,000. We've actually ordered the pipe from 3 different suppliers due to pricing and schedule. It's just the way it worked out. 2 of the pipes are aluminum arch pipes, steel aluminized corrugated steel arch pipes, and one is a concrete circular pipe. The supplier for concrete pipe is not the same as the supplier for the corrugated steel type pipes. They don't make the same pipes. So that was always going to be a given. So those pipes have been ordered and are scheduled to be delivered in some cases for the concrete pipe this week, for the other pipes next week. The suppliers are Armtec, AIL, and LE Shaw. The price for the pipe is, all told is about $38,500. The pipe install was sent out for quotations from 3 local contractors. We received 2 prices, and the low for all 3 pipes was Beal & Inch. The prices for install worked out to $525.00 plus HST. And that is what we are bringing to council today, is for a request for council to approve award of that amount. There is a motion that is separate from what you may have seen on the earlier sheets that's being circulated now. And we've made an allowance in this for asphalt replacements so that the cost for supply and install is $115,694.39 plus HST on a $140,000 budget.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eppel. Questions or comments from council? Ms. Goodwin is passing out the adjusted motion, so council has that. Councillor Hicks?
Thank you, Mayor Black. I would like to say I'll be voting against this motion, as I can't justify using taxpayers' dollars to do work that we have qualified staff to do, and there's still 3 weeks to do it for the end of September. I feel it should be done in-house and not use taxpayers' dollars for tendering everything out.
Mr. Eppel, did you want to respond to that? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Through you, Mayor, we reviewed with the Public Works crew our capacity to get this work done this year, along with all the other things that are on our plate. And we waited until August to get a good sense of where we were, and we just do not have the capacity to take these on. They will not get done this year unless we contract them out.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Eppel. So we do have a motion that's been passed around. The councillor is willing to read that. Councillor Martin?
I move that council authorize the installation of 3 culverts, Fairfield 1, Walker 3, and Walker 4, to Beal and Inch Construction in the amount of $63,525 plus HST.
Moved by Councillor Martin. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Estabrooks. Any last questions, comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. Show of hands. Councillor Nay votes from Councillor Hicks, Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell, and Councillor Finney. Okay. Motion carried. 8C, bulk road salt. Again, Mr. Eppel.
As usual, we've gone out for pricing for road salt. We asked for pricing from the mines, that being Windsor Salt and Nutrien. Windsor Salt did give us a price including trucking. We also got prices from 3 trucking firms, and at the end of the day, we found that the lowest price per ton comes from Kingsco, who was the supplier last year and purchasing the salt from Nutrien. However, they do have a fuel surcharge that if there is an 8 cents increase in the world crude price, it will mean that the second lowest price will be the low price. And we believe that in order to manage Tantramar's risk, that it would be appropriate to consider award to the second lowest bidder, in this case, who has a inclusive fuel surcharge, no additional cost for it, and that would be Bowser from Windsor Salt. So Kingsco was $83.82 per ton. Bowser's is $84.39 per ton. We typically order about 1,400 tons of salt per year, and it makes less than $1,000 difference in the total purchase price of 1,400 tons. So we are recommending that the award be made to Bowser. We've identified the option of awarding to Kingsco or to Bowser. There is a small difference in price, but the risk with the cost of Kingsco is that if world crude prices go up significantly, then the cost of the salt supply will go up pretty significantly. And we currently do not require salt to be brought in today. It won't be until December or into the winter that we need to start bringing in additional salt.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eppel. Comments or questions from council? Councillor Gauguin?
Thank you, Mayor Black. I'm a little confused here, Mr. Eppel. On your breakdown, it says like if Windsor supplies it and they ship it, the cost is $97,889. Is that just a typo, or? Because I understand it's $88 or $89 per ton, but then the cost is $97,000.
That is a typo. That's a typo, thank you. It's 124,500.
Good catch, Councillor Gauguin. Well done. I just had a quick question around, and maybe this is better for Mr. Beal, but around procurement. Are we required, even though like the lower bid may put the municipality at some risk, as Mr. Eppel has said, but are we required to take the lowest bid? Would it put us in any risk by taking the bid that Mr. Eppel is suggesting? I just wonder what that looks like through procurement laws.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was not official tender. We did not go out for a tender. We went out for quotes. So based on the quotes, and that is acceptable within the Procurement Act, based on the value of what we have in front of us. So the evaluation of the quotations basically puts us at a stable ground, I guess, selecting the second lowest based on Mr. Eppel's evaluation. Now, if you take a risk factor into account relating to the price of crude, that could easily put them as the lowest as well.
Okay.
So it is a risk factor, and I don't think, I'm no lawyer without a legal opinion, but I do not believe it would put us at risk.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Eppel. So we have a motion for bulk road salt. Councillor, be willing to read that? Councillor Butcher?
Thank you. I move that council authorize staff to purchase salt from Windsor Salt at $70.40 a ton and transportation services from Bowser Construction at $13.99 a ton for the 2025/26 season for approximately 1,000 to 1,400 tons of road salt.
Moved by Councillor Butcher, seconded by Deputy Mayor Estabrooks. Last comments, questions? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 8D, Assistant Clerk Appointment Extension. Ms. Bourne.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. The report can be found on page 40 of your agenda package. So under this request, just looking to extend the temporary appointment of the assistant clerk until November 30th. As council knows, at the May 2025 regular council meeting, council appointed Miss Elizabeth Hartling, who is the assistant treasurer, with the assistant clerk duties as well, in addition to her treasurer duties, for a term ending September 1st. So September 1st is passed, of course, so looking to extend that into November. The posting for the manager of administrative support or clerk position closed August 18th, and the selection process is currently underway. So the recommendation before you is to extend that temporary assignment. Would welcome any questions if there's any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Bourne. Any questions on item 8D? Okay. All right. So there's a motion for that as well. Councillor Martin.
I move that council appoint Elizabeth Harling as Assistant Clerk of the Municipality of Tantramar in accordance with the Section 71 of the Local Governance Act for a temporary term ending on November the 30th, 2025.
Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Hicks. Last questions, comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 8E, motion from Mayor Black. I'll make the motion if I get a seconder. We'll see, and then I can comment. I move that the municipality of Tantramar commit an annual contribution of $1,000 to the Canadian Naval Memorial Trust in support of the HMCS Sackville. Furthermore, I request that staff explore the possibility of Tantramar obtaining trustee status within the CNMT, Canadian Naval Memorial Trust, and collaborate with both the CNMT and the Sackville Legion to develop updated signage for Memorial Park to be considered as part of the 2026 budget. Seconded by Councillor Tower. And just to give just a little bit of context or to speak in favor of this motion, on June 26th, I was invited to the opening season for the HMCS Sackville. It was an incredible event, well attended, both from federal government, the Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia was there. But when I was putting together a speech on behalf of Tantramar or Sackville, I went down to the Memorial Park and looked at the signage that's down there. And on the very bottom of that sign, it says, the town of Sackville has supported the HMCS Sackville since its creation and continues to support them. And so upon reflection and some conversation with Mr. Pride as well, and with CNMT, some of that, the contribution that we used to give has dropped off, and part of that is because of the community grant funding. They're from Halifax. It's difficult for them to get the application in time. Mr. Pride had taken it upon himself for a number of years to reach out directly to them to request it, but we can't do that of every organization. The onus is on the organization to do that. I thought that this would be a good way to consistently have that recognition. If it's possible for us to have trustee status, then the municipality would then be part of the board of trustees, in which case we would get information and invitations to HMCS Sackville events, again, recognizing that historic link to our community. And then the second part of that is to investigate what it would look like to get some new signage, updated signage, working with CNMT and Legion to have that like an impactful visual representation there in Memorial Park. So I, of course, am speaking in favor of this motion. Questions or comments from council? Councillor Tower.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a fabulous idea. I made many motions improving the idea of donating to the trust. I know that because of our policies, as you said, the donations did drop off because it wasn't voted on back in again. But it has still been supported by Sackville, or at least members in Sackville, myself being one who's being a membership to it. So when we go to Saltscape, I have a grand time letting the Nova Scotians who come to the booth know that the ship in their harbor is named after our municipality and not theirs. And we're very proud of that connection. So I think it's a great part of our tourism. They talk about us down there, and other people around Canada talk about the connection between the two. So if it isn't done through this, it could be done through tourism on an annual basis. So I like the idea, so that's why I support it.
Thank you. Councillor Finney?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I just want to say I had the opportunity, along with another council quite some time ago, probably when I first got on, to go on to the HMCS Sackville. They even provided a meal, of the kind of meal that would be given, prepared for the men on that frigate. I think they're called frigates. I think
Corvette.
Corvettes, sir. Thank you. Anyway, it was like a corn chowder, and the homemade bread was unbelievable. It was really good. And I would like for council to turn around and take a trip down to go back on, if we can go on again, and to be part of the trust. I think it's great, as a matter of fact. They've been trying to, for years, if I remember correctly, to get, I think it was in the vicinity of $200 million to turn around and put that Corvette on land into a museum where they could turn around and keep it on, because it's rusting more and more away all the time. And it's the last one of what, 254, I think? So to do that, I think, is just wonderful. And like Councillor Tower said, it's named after our town, not Sackville, Nova Scotia.
Councillor Butcher.
So I knew of the HMCS Sackville. To be honest, I thought it was still floating around. To hear it's resting in a harbor somewhere, like it just sits there, is that what happens? It's just sitting there?
Yeah, it sits in the harbor and is a museum, like a museum of itself.
Gotcha.
Sitting in the harbor. And I'm not sure, I wouldn't call it rusting, but to your point, Councillor Finney, that it requires a lot of work to keep that war memorial, that historical memorial, in operation and, up to snuff for tourism. And so every donation that they get, of course, goes into the Canadian Naval Memorial Trust to attempt to keep that piece of history alive. So I'm not sure if that.
So that does explain some things to me, because that was a piece I was missing. I naively did not realize. I also assumed it was named after Lord Sackville, the same as we are, not that it was named after us. All that said, thank you for educating me, and I will be voting in support of this.
Councillor Finney, follow up?
I was going to say is the fact that they said that the metal on it is getting thinner and thinner every year, even though it's still in the harbor, and they're very concerned about it. That's why they were trying to raise the money to get it into a museum so it doesn't go through altogether. And it does cost a lot to turn around and keep it up to date. So that was what I was getting at. Thank you.
Councillor Tower, follow up?
Yeah, it is rusting, unfortunately, and they are now getting ready for a new project on it. It goes into dry dock for the winter months and then brought back out for spring and all the tourism. So when they take it back into dry dock, they're going to be working on it again to get it fixed up. So
Thanks for that. Okay. So motions is on the floor, mover and seconder. So call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, 8F, motion from Mayor Andrew Black. So there's actually two motions for this. I'll read the first motion. I get a seconder again, of course. I can speak to it. I move the council request staff to prepare an amendment to bylaw number 258, Town of Sackville bylaw, designating roads accessible to off-road vehicles, specifically to include Mahoney Road, Mountview Road, and Station Road, Sackville, under the general provisions and Schedule A sections of the bylaw. Be it further resolved that the updated version of bylaw number 258, Town of Sackville bylaw, designating roads accessible to off-road vehicles, incorporating the proposed amendment, be brought forward for formal consideration at a future committee of the whole meeting. Seconded by Councillor Finney. And just to give some context on this, of course, speaking in favor of the motion, we had the ATV Club present to council in June. This was one of a few asks that they had. Currently, the ATV Club here in Tantramar does not have a loop that they're able to access the trail system that they would from Wright and Mallard Street. There's no other way to get to it. Nor is there a way to get to the existing rail bed that the Department of Natural Resources owns. They proposed this Mahoney Road, Mountview Road, and Station Road access for ATV use with their membership to be able to close part of that gap. So it was brought before us in a presentation. I've had a few conversations with the ATV Club and a few members within the community, and thought that I would bring it forward as a motion for consideration. Councillor Gauguin.
Thank you, Mayor Black. It definitely would bring people like close that loop, like you said. My only concern is I'd made a motion about the rail bed a while back to bring it under our control, and I feel like unless we're not bringing that under our control, we're gonna face a lot more barriers. So we need to bring it under our control before we can do anything on it. So to be able to get people to, you know, put it up to date and whatever, because I've heard a lot of people that the ATVs still use it right now, and the dust is getting all kicked up and people that are walking. So we would have to bring it under our control and then kind of put gravel or something like that to bring it up to date, let's say. So I don't know what.
So there is a second motion
Yeah.
that talks about the rail bed,
Mhm.
and we can have discussion under the rail bed specifically on that second motion.
Okay.
But you're right, I mean, to have the roads and not the rail bed, then it's a piece of road that they can use, but it doesn't go anywhere,
Yeah.
to your point.
Yeah. But
But I did want to mention too, that just to keep in mind that this is to get it to to a committee of the whole so that there can be further discussion. It's not an acceptance of it outright.
Yeah.
And we already have a bylaw for off-road vehicles for those two streets, and there's stipulations in there around use that has been reviewed by public safety in that instance. And so the same provisions for these roads will be under that bylaw. I just wanted to highlight that. But Councillor Gogan, you're right. The rail bed portion, if you don't have one without the other, then it's roads that don't really go anywhere.
can I
Yep.
follow up? So I kind of know what you're saying, because it's bringing up in the second motion to talk about extending from Station Road to the municipal boundary in Midget. But I'd want that like almost the whole thing. So I don't know, I guess we'll talk about that second part when it gets to it. Okay.
I think Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell was next, I believe.
Thank you, Mayor Black. Now, the ask when we had the ATV NB present to us, we also had Woodlawn and Cherry Burton asked about. Now, if the bylaw changes, I don't know we probably didn't have one in Dorchester at the time, bylaws for off-road vehicles. So when does that come into, when can we have those roads included into our, because that was the ask that evening on.
With a notice of motion. I mean, it is a bylaw which is going to have to be amended. So it'll go through the process that we have to bring it forward to council for 3 readings. A notice of motion for the road specifically in Dorchester could be brought forward.
So wouldn't it have been a better idea to have them all included in one when the presentation was done? Wouldn't it makes sense to me to have those roads put in with the ask that you just asked for? I'm not, I'm just asking why.
I guess they also, like to your point, I get it, but they also asked for Squire and Weldon,
Yes.
which is a much bigger conversation. With them accessing downtown on very heavy residential roads. Speaking with the ATV club, I left those out because in my opinion, it would be probably like a public session where we would have those conversations a little more deeply. The ATV club in the conversation with me was fine with this access, at least for now. And maybe the ask for the Dorchester piece could be added in at a later date.
Okay,
So
so-
really, this is just coming from the ATV club through further
All right,
conversation.
because both of these roads I mentioned are not heavily accessed roads.
Right.
And they're being used as it is now. But it would be nice to have it that if we did use it, that we're doing it legally. You
Right,
know, that
right.
we'll be able to do this. So I'm just a little confused why those 2 roads weren't included.
And I don't, Ms. Goodwin said it could be part of the bylaw process as well, but I think if I'm not mistaken, and I don't have the map that they had given us, but the piece in Dorchester was a little different than Woodlawn and Cherry Burton. They had a King Street access, rather than going all the way down Woodlawn, there was like a King Street access to Woodlawn, and then it came through on another road, which eventually ended up to Cherry Burton and to the Getpoo. So there was an ask a while ago, and I believe that you brought up a
Okay.
motion for the ATV club previously. The ask with this new plan had a different access point that would get them from the trail system around Walker Road area to ending at the very least a gas station, so ending at Gitpu Gas in Fort Folly. So we'd have to go back and look at that map and maybe speak with the ATV Club again about what that access looks like. So anyway, so just because of the conversation I had with them, they were fine having at least these 3 roads to be able to make that connection.
Thank you.
Councillor Butcher.
So just to clarify, what this motion is requesting is to open up that conversation to amend a proposed policy change. So by voting for this, we would only, at this point, be voting to opening it up to discussion.
Absolutely.
Because I'm still not sure how I feel about ATVs on those roads, but this would open up the discussion. So
Absolutely.
we could get more information. And then through that discussion, we could adjust, add, subtract roads as we're doing the discussion, correct? Ish?
Yeah, I mean, we're having a discussion right now, which
Right.
is not the point of a regular council meeting where it's supposed to be, a little more formal. But yes, it would come to a committee of the whole where there'd be some involvement from staff as well, talking about what the change may mean to the bylaw. So there'd be an opportunity for further conversation. Yes,
Okay.
it's not saying, yes, these roads are in, we're good. It's
Opening it up.
yeah,
to-
opening that conversation of adding them to the
Okay.
bylaw. Okay. So we have a mover and a seconder. Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, second motion. I move that a letter of support be submitted to the Department of Natural Resources endorsing the Tantramar ATV Club's request for access to the rail bed extending from Station Road in Sackville to the municipal boundary in Midgick, and authorize the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the municipality of Tantramar. Seconded by Councillor Finney. Again, context, speaking in favor of this motion. The ATV Club is looking for a letter of support only because the rail bed is owned by the Department of Natural Resources. If they had that letter of support from the municipality, they could then go to DNR and request access to that rail bed. So a letter of support from the municipality may or may not give them the authority from DNR to use that rail bed. Not only use it, but the ATV Club would have the possibility of putting money into that rail bed to be able to bring it up to speed. Grading it, putting some gravel down, if there was any ditching that needed to be done, or beaver dams, because I think that there's some beaver dams further along the way. It would give them that access to be able to put money into the trail if the ATV Club was willing to do that, with further conversations with DNR. So this is a letter of support for them to then go to DNR. It may not give them the access, or it may. The piece around the rail bed fully is that motion is still on the floor. Still being worked on by staff. And there are still conversations happening around that. So just as a scenario of what that might look like if the rail bed were to be like an owner and occupation, or whatever the phrase is, for the municipality to get the rail bed fully from the highway all the way out to the municipal boundary. If that happened, then we would take ownership of it, and since we've given the ATV Club, in this case, if the motion passed, access to that road, then the municipality would have a conversation with the ATV Club about what their continued use of access for that piece would look like. Maybe a user agreement or something to that effect. Questions or comments? Seeing none? Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Oh, man, there's a lot of me talking. Okay, so 8G Rail Safety Week proclamation. For those who have been on council for a long time, this is familiar ground. We do this pretty much every year with CN. Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 15th to the 21st, 2025. Whereas 261 railway crossings and trespassing incidents occurred in Canada in 2024, resulting in 68 avoidable fatalities and 58 avoidable serious injuries. Whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railway rights of way are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the public, rail industry, governments, Indigenous communities, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. Whereas CN and Operation Lifesaver have requested City Council adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. Therefore, I, Mayor Andrew Black, hereby proclaim National Rail Safety Week in Tantramar be held from September 15th to the 21st, 2025. Okay. So the motion that was added in the amended agenda is 8H, Willow Lane closure. Mr. Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor Black. Just a second, I'm fighting with the cable. There we go. You'll be able to get that up on the screen. Thank you, Mayor Black. This is a This is a request for a closure of Willow Lane tomorrow from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. And this is because the film crew that's in town filming the movie miniseries for Radio Canada International, they actually requested a closure of part of Willow Lane from below the back of 19 Bridge Street, which is Ducks Aren't Real, down to the sidewalk on Lorne Street to accommodate their filming. We consulted with Sackville Fire and Public Works, and both Chief Bowser and Director Eppel recommended closing the entirety of Willow Lane instead for safety reasons. This closure is only going to impede the access to the back of some businesses along Bridge Street as well as the Jean Coutu on Main Street. Our manager of tourism and business development spoke to all of the affected businesses, and the only ones that indicated they'd have any issues were the Jean Coutu and Tidewater Books, who are both expecting deliveries on that day. But we spoke to the film crews, and they will be letting those businesses have access to the back in order to not disrupt them, to allow the deliveries that day. And yeah, that's about all there is to it. So what we're asking here is for council to approve the closure of Willow Lane, the entirety of Willow Lane, which just runs from Main Street down to Lorne Street. It's just one block there. And so we're just asking for the council to approve the closure as presented. So we have as options to approve the street closure as presented or to not approve the street closure as presented, although I guess technically there would also be the option to have the partial street closure, but that was against the recommendations of both Sackville Fire and Public Works.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Questions or comments? Okay. We do have a motion that was passed out for this. Councillor Finney?
I move the council close Willow Lane, Sackville, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, to accommodate filming by Radio Canada International.
Moved by Councillor Finney, seconded by Councillor Martin. Any last questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we are going to 8I, which was the RFD 2025-071 easement, Walden Street, Sackville Trunk Sewer. Sorry, the motion's in the report? Okay. So Councillor Gauguin, you pulled that out. In the report, the motion is there, if you want to read that motion. What page is that on? Page 27, just to make it a little easier.
24, 25, 26, 27. All right. So it says the proposed motion is that council authorize the mayor and clerk sign, seal the easement agreement with the Department of National Resource Energy Development for the Weldon-Sackville Trunk Sewer Project.
And you're moving that, correct?
Well,
So that we can. have a
yeah,
discussion.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Mhm. And then the seconder.
So mover for that motion, have a seconder for that? Councillor Butcher?
All right, perfect.
Okay, questions or comments?
Yes.
Councillor Gauguin?
Okay. It was discussed during the, when you brought it forward, Mr. Epple, about this being a previous rail line. With our experience with rail lines in Sackville, there's been some remediation issues, especially with Lorne Street Phase 2, or Phase 1, Phase 2. Have we checked the line or the access to see what kind of remediation effort we're gonna have to be doing on that if we do approve this? Or are we digging down, or are we just gonna put on top? Like, it's just, there's some concerns about how much this could put us over budget if we find something. Well, obviously, we probably will find something, some contaminated dirt.
Mr. Epple?
So because this is early days, we have not gone out and done test bits to try and determine how much contaminated material there might be. This is not a rail maintenance yard as the Lawrence Street Phase 2 was. This is just a normal track. Undoubtedly, there will be some contamination, but we expect it to be somewhat limited. We did allow for some money for dealing with remediation in the numbers that I had spoken about when that was presented.
That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so any further questions or comments? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 9, bylaws. A, bylaw number 244V, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 244, Town of Sackville zoning bylaw. And there are 2 motions. It would be great if whoever chooses to read these could read both, just to kind of keep it clean. Councillor Butcher?
Okay. I move that council give first reading in name only to bylaw number 244V, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 244, Town of Sackville zoning bylaw.
Moved by Councillor Butcher, seconded by Councillor Gauguin. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Butcher?
I move that council give second reading in its entirety to bylaw number 244V, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 244, Town of Sackville zoning bylaw. The Council of Tantramar, under the authority vested in it by Section 53 of the Community Planning Act, SNB 2017 C19, amends bylaw number 244, the Town of Sackville zoning bylaw, and enacts as follows. 1, bylaw number 244, the Town of Sackville zoning bylaw, is amended by repealing the minimum lot frontage and minimum lot size for the outside lot of a vertically attached dwelling unit in Part 10, Urban Residential 2 Zone, R2, Section 10.2 Zone, with requirements, and Part 11 Urban Residential 3 Zone, R3, Section 11.2 Zone requirements, which both set the minimum lot frontage for an outside lot of a vertically attached dwelling unit at 15.3 meters or 50 feet, and the minimum lot size for an outside lot of vertically attached dwelling units at 464.5 square meters, which is 5,000 square feet, and replacing the minimum lot frontage and minimum lot size for an outside lot of a vertically attached dwelling unit to a minimum lot frontage of 10.1 meters, or 33.23 feet, and a minimum lot size of 308 square meters, which is 3,315.3 square feet. All other requirements shall remain the same.
Moved by Councillor Butcher, seconded by Councillor Gauguin. Questions, comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to number 10, Mayor and Councillor statements and inquiries. Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I just wanted to let everybody know that I attended two functions that Mayor and Council was invited to. One was for the grand opening down at Straight Shores, which was an awesome, they have a great building down there, very nice. And the second one was I attended the Beals University Canada graduation ceremony in Moncton. And there was 7 students that got their Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Alexa Esterbrook, who is our deputy mayor's daughter. She was a valedictorian and the honor student in that class. So that was great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitations.
Amazing. Councillor Tower.
Thank you. I have just 2 comments. One, I want to say thank you for including the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in our flag policy. I really wanted that in there, and even though we may have always lowered the flag, I thought it should be part of the policy, so thank you for putting that in there. And the second one is, I've been a little disappointed with the fact that we haven't planned for having crosswalks put in at the Memorial Park, honoring our veterans, and so I intend to bring a motion forward on such a thing. We do it with pride for pride crosswalks, and I think we should do it for pride of supporting our veterans of what they sacrifice. So I hope with it, it's a matter of, yes, we have to do it every year and you have to find money, but I think it's something that should be happening, and I hope to see it happen.
Well said. Deputy Mayor Esterbrook.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Black. Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell stole my Beale University piece, not to talk about my daughter, but to talk about the fact that that program is off and running, and that was the inaugural one, and there's many more to come. So something to be proud of for them and also for our municipality. I must say a note of thanks. The RCMP are not here tonight, but I've noticed an increased presence everywhere within town. Lots of cruisers, and that is very much appreciated. Whenever we see them, it makes us feel like they're doing their job, and we see them in all areas now, so which is good, all areas of the municipality. And just one last quick note was our small municipality of Tantramar was well represented in Newfoundland at the 2025 Canada Games by 2 female players on the first ever New Brunswick women's baseball team. By Kipling Kober and Audrey Hoig. So thank you, girls.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Moving on to number 11, notice of motion and resolution. Councillor Wiggins-Caldwell.
Thank you, Mayor Black. I have a notice of motion for a full study on pedestrian safety needs to be done to bring Dorchester up to the standards of Sackville.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tower.
Thank you. A notice of motion of one to write a letter of opposition to the project going what they hope to do in Midget. I think we should state our case against that, and I want to bring that forward to the September 25th budget meeting.
23rd.
23rd? Okay.
Yep.
Correct that one.
Okay.
And the second one is, of course, painting the crosswalks. I want to bring that forward at the same meeting. so that we can get that done this year if possible at all.
Okay. All right. Okay, number 12, adjournment. Moved by Counselor Tower, seconded by Counselor Finney. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone, for attending.